What is up, guys? Stark here. In today's character spotlight, I am finally taking a look at Arjuna. It's been a few days since I've been trying to get him, but I finally have a friend who, is put him up as a support servant, so finally going to get into his character spotlight, and his pictures are on the screen right now. Unfortunately, I do not care for his artwork at all. I think his artwork is very bland, and it just doesn't pop out to me at all. So unfortunately, this is not one of the better artworks, in my opinion, in the game. Moving on here to his stats, he is going to be an archer and a 5-star. And at level 90, he will end up with 12,342 attack and 13,230 HP. So overall, he's going to rank 3rd currently in attack for HP, or attack rather, and then 17th overall for HP. So he's got some really high attack stats, but some pretty average HP stats overall. If you do decide to max him out though, he will end up with 15,510 attack and 16,494 HP. Moving on here to his servant skills, he's got a bit of a random set of servant skills, but the first one is going to be the Clairvoyant C+ skill, which is a self buff that will greatly increase critical star drop rate for 3 turns. This will be an 18% increase at level 1 and a 36% increase at level 10, and then you can also do an interlude quest to power this up, and this will unlock the Clairvoyance Archer Beat Plus skill. This is still a self buff, and it will greatly increase critical star drop rates for 3 turns, but it will also apply debuff immunity for 5 turns. So this is really nice. You just having 5 turns of being able to completely, avoid debuffs is really nice, and it does up the percentages here to 30% at level 1 and 50% at level 10. So overall, it's a pretty good skill. You do need that interlude quest before it actually becomes usable. It does have an 8-turn charge time to start though, which is kind of high, but it's not too bad overall. Moving on here to his second skill, it's going to be the Blessed Hero A skill. Now this is also a self buff that will increase his own Noble Phantasm gauge, restore HP over each turn for 5 turns, and then it will also gain critical stars each turn for 5 turns as well. So on paper, this is a really good skill. You get a 25% increase to your Noble Phantasm gauge. You will heal, a minimum of 1,000 HP at level 1 and a maximum at 2,000 HP at level 10 each turn for 5 turns, which is really nice. It kind of turns him into a mini tank, and then you will gain 4 stars every turn at level 1 and 8 stars every turn at level 10. And this is really nice. It does last 5 turns, but the drawback to this is that the cooldown is so high. It starts at 12 turns, so you're probably not going to be using this too much in the fight, so you're probably going to have to take characters that can help reduce cooldowns, or even if you max it out completely, you're still going to need a lot of wait time before you can use this skill a second time. Overall though, it is still a very nice skill. Moving on here to his third and final skill, it's going to be the Mana Burst Flame A skill, which is a self buff that will increase Buster Card effectiveness for 1 turn, and it will also increase his Noble Phantasm strength for 1 turn. Again, on paper, this skill looks very good. It's a 20% increase at level 1 and a 30% increase at level 10 for Buster Card effectiveness, and it has a 10% Noble Phantasm strength increase at level 1 and a 20% increase at level 10. Like I said, it looks really nice, but unfortunately it's not that good overall. It's basically like a 1-turn burst when you're using your Noble Phantasm. He only has 1 Buster card, so he can't even perform a Buster, a Brave Buster chain, which is a huge drawback for this character. So unless you're using his Noble Phantasm, on the turn you use this skill, it's pretty much going to go to waste, which is kind of unfortunate if you ask me. Now moving on here to his class skills, the first one's going to be the Magic Resistant C skill, which will increase debuff resistance by 15%. His second skill is the Independent Action A, which will increase critical strength by 10%, and the third and final one is going to be the Divinity B, which will apply damage plus 175. Moving on here to his Ascension and his skill enhancement materials, he doesn't need a whole lot, honestly. He just needs some Serpent Eyes, or Jewels, the Feathers, and Demon Hearts. And then for his skill enhancements, he's going to need more Feathers, Seeds, and Demon Hearts as well. Moving on here to his command cards and his Noble Phantasm, and this is probably the biggest drawback of this character, as I've been mentioning before. He does have 1 quick, 3 arts, and 1 Buster card, and that's kind of a bad setup for this character given how his skills are and how his Noble Phantasm works. So again, it's kind of unfortunate that he has a card set like this, but you do have a really nice set of arts cards. You can get that arts chain, the Brave Arts chain going with this character, which definitely helps increase your Noble Phantasm gauge quicker, although he doesn't have much of a generation rate on his arts cards. It's like 1% or something, so it's not that high, but you can make up for that with the fact that it does an arts chain, so you're going to get the bonuses from that. But unfortunately, he only has 1 Buster card, so he cannot do a Brave Buster chain, which is really bad because if he had 2 Buster cards and 2 Arts cards, that would be fantastic in my opinion, because then you could do the Brave Buster chain and you could use his 3rd skill, and that's going to do like just not like an insane amount of damage, but he's 3rd overall in attack, so he's got some really good attack stats. And then combo that with his normal Phantasm, which is an AoE skill, and overall it would just be so much better if he just had 1 more Buster card. Moving on to his Noble Phantasm though, like I said, it is a Buster card, and it is an AoE effect that will deal heavy damage to all enemies, with a low chance to inflict death, and an additional chance to inflict death on divine enemies. So this is really nice. You can combo it with characters that reduce death, like Shiki, who I did previously a couple days ago. So they do a pretty good combination right there with her skills and his skills to get that instant death off. But overall though, it's not, you know, a huge chance. I mean, divinity enemy or divine enemies, they're mostly servants, and servants already have like a really high resistance to death to begin with, so you're probably not going to get too much off on that skill. But overall, it's, you know, it does do some solid damage, and if you do combo it with his 3rd skill, you are going to be doing quite a bit of damage with it overall. It does have an overcharge effect where it will decrease defense of all allies for 3 turns. So not too bad, but, you know, definitely lower on the end of Noble Phantasms just because of his setup and his cards and everything that comes into play here. There is an interlude quest that can power it up. It will do a buff in damage, and it will also increase the stats of his death chance for the normal enemies. But again, it's nothing, you know, nothing to write home about. There's definitely Noble Phantasms that are better for archers, and that's probably why I had such a hard time using or finding this character to use for a character spotlight, because quite frankly, he's just, it's not that he's bad, it's just that there's better options. So, you know, if you have like Gilgamesh or something, you're definitely going to want to prefer to use him as a support instead of Arjuna. Moving on here to some of the craft essences though that you can use on this character. At level 10 Bond, you will unlock the Blessed Hero craft essence, and while equipped, it will increase Noble Phantasm strength by 30%, and it will also increase critical star gather rate by 1000%. So this is pretty nice. You know, it does help boost up his stats and his skills, but level 10 Bond is really hard to get. So until you get there, you can go ahead and throw on the Fragment of 2030 craft essence, and this is a pretty good craft essence for him because it can help, you know, generate more stars, granting 8 critical stars per turn, and you can combo that with his other skills to keep that star generation going. I think you can end up with like 15 stars a turn, which is pretty nice. It does help combat some of his weaknesses. So overall, it is a pretty good craft essence that you could use on this character. Another good craft essence you can use on this character is the Black Grail craft essence. And this will increase Noble Phantasm damage by 60%, but it will also decrease your HP by 500 each turn. Now this is a really good craft essence to use on him, and it's one of the better servants to use the Black Grail on, because he does have that second skill that he'll heal himself each turn for 5 turns. So that not only erases the, you know, HP loss, it also, you're still going to profit and gain more HP even if you do use the Black Grail. So you can definitely take advantage of that and use the Black Grail on this character, and you're still going to be gaining HP each turn and doing, you know, a massive increase in your Noble Phantasm damage. And finally, you can go ahead and use Kaleidoscope on him to get his Noble Phantasm started ready early in the fight if you're trying to use like a team for Noble Phantasm spam for him. So that's pretty much going to wrap up this video here. I did see someone in the comments, I believe his name was Igor, mention that I should do something where I give the character like a rating overall at the end of the series. And honestly, I think that's a fantastic idea. I'm not sure why I didn't think of it to begin with, but I'm going to start doing that in all future videos. I'm going to do kind of like a recap overall at the end, and eventually I will have a graphic that I can throw on the screen. I'm not the best at making graphics, so, you know, if you guys are really good at it, or if you know someone who's good at it, feel free to contact me. You know, we can get in touch and talk about something like that. But for now, I don't have a graphic, but I will be getting one at some point in the future. Anyways, so let's go ahead and do the, you know, the conclusion here for the character review. Overall, he does have some really good stats, so I'm going to give him 3.5 stars for that. This is all going to be out of 5 stars, by the way. So I'm going to give him 3.5 stars for his stats. You know, he is 3rd overall in attack, and that's really good, but he does fall off with the HP being 17th overall. And then for his skills, I'm going to give him 3 stars. So, you know, unfortunately, he does have good skills on paper, but they don't really mesh together, and, you know, that kind of sucks. You need the whole package if you want to be a, you know, a used servant, especially in the archer class with Gilgamesh. Next up, I'm going to be doing the category for versatility. So this is kind of just how well the character meshes on different teams. And unfortunately, he doesn't do very well outside of his like stat bonuses for the archer class. So I'm going to give him 3 stars there. I'm probably being a little generous with the star ratings. This is the first time I'm doing it, so it might fluctuate overall in the future. And if I like miss a category that you guys think I should add, or if I have a category you think should be different, you know, just let me know in the comments. We'll figure it out and get it right by the end. And then finally, I have the aesthetics category. Now, this category doesn't really count for the overall rating, but I'm just gonna throw it out there. This is basically just like how the character appears in the game, his artwork, how his skills look, you know, his character design, things like that. It's just a personal preference. There definitely are characters in the game that you want to pull just because you like how they look, or you like their voice actor or actress or anything like that. There's just those certain characters, or they're your waifu, or any of those factors that play. So I'm going to throw this on as a stat for the overall ranking, just because I do know there's a lot of people out there that actually care about that stuff, and I'm one of them. Don't get me wrong, I'm definitely one of them. There's characters I want just because I like them, and I don't really care what their skills or stats are. So overall, after averaging out the stats, he does end up with a 2.8 stat rating, but we're going to round it up here to 3. I'm not going to deal with like quarter stars. It's just going to be full stars and half stars. So overall, I'm going to give Arjuna a 3-star ranking overall. So let me know what you guys thought about this whole little new feature I've added onto these videos. I will leave you guys here with his normal Phantasm as always, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
Sick!